I love getting up here and speaking after I've just sung. Feels good. Ernest Holmes said in a talk given at the Wiltern Theater Sunday morning, July 4th, 1937, "True freedom, true liberty has something cosmic behind it. If the time has come that modern science has proved that we cannot move a piece of paper without changing the balance of the entire physical universe, if we have come to the place where we know that the stuff of which our physical bodies are made is the same stuff of which planets are made, if we have come to the place where there is such a profound unity is maintained that physicists believe there is no such thing as disunity in the physical world, then we can easily see what the great spiritual teachers of all ages meant when they told us of that greater unity in which we all live and move and have our being. And that the idea of freedom itself is tied up with the true concept of the unity of good. We are all tied into this indivisible unity. We shall have to get back to this unity to find the meaning of freedom. Nothing in any part of this cosmic whole should be considered freedom that would destroy the liberty of sort of another part of it. That would be self-destruction, would it not? As Jesus pointed out 2,000 years ago, that would be a kingdom divided against itself. The kingdom of God is one kingdom, so we know that true liberty must spring from true unity. Bring the awareness of your ability to use your freedom to decree a thing and speak this affirmation with me with a feeling of victory. Are we there yet? All right. In the midst of the fireworks of life, I intend that I am free in the cool grace of spirit to be a calming presence.
Fireworks. The fireworks of life. What if we could see the fireworks of life, the challenges, as opportunities to create beauty? That's what just came to me in this moment. If we could look at them from a different perspective and create beauty. So that's what my message today is really all about, is how to stand in the fireworks of life and exercise that freedom of choice, that true freedom that comes from a place of knowing that we are of the one source, that we are fully unified with the very mind of God, because we are emanations of the Most High, that our essence is the same as the one. And that means we have within us the full measure of freedom, right here and right now. It's not something we have to find outside of us or something that we've got to fight for. It's something that dwells within us. It's something that we can exercise in the moment. What a beautiful shift that is. And that's why it kind of reminds me of what we do in the summertime when it's really hot. We just exercise our freedom, and we get a cold drink of water, or we do what Dan and I did last week, is escape to a cooler climate, which we went up into the mountains for a few days, or to take a cool dip in the water. You know, there are a lot of different ways that we just automatically do. You know, we exercise our freedom, and because we know we can do it. Well, how about if we had that same knowingness of our freedom of choice to deal with every life circumstance that ever came our way? What if we had that same sense of freedom of choice in that moment? Well, that's what I'm calling forth from all of us, from myself too, is to remember even in the midst of challenges, the fireworks of life, that we have an opportunity to create great beauty and magnificence, just like the fireworks that we see on the 4th of July. So I'm just going to repeat what Ernest Holmes said in that beautiful, and by the way, you can find it online. If you want to look at the whole entire talk, it's really very inspiring. But the line that said, "The kingdom of God is one kingdom, so we know that true liberty must spring from true unity," or true freedom is the same thing, must spring from true unity. So it all goes back to the awareness of our oneness with this one life, this one life. And also to know that the design of the universe is for us. It's never against us. If you think about one infinite universal source of all that is, if we take the proper perspective, we realize that it's not divided against itself. It actually is, everything is working for the creative process, for the process of creation. And we, as emanations of the Most High, as children of the Most High, participate in that creation. That's what our freedom is all about. If we didn't have freedom, we would be, as Ernest Holmes says, automatons. We would just be going through life and just accepting whatever we had, but we don't. We have the power of the freedom of choice. We have that within us. So how do we connect with that when we are in the midst of this heat? And the fight or flight, reaction takes place, because that happens. I mean, I experienced that myself. It's like something happens, and the old patterns that are still there sense danger, and so it's like all of those chemicals in the body that create the stress reaction show up, and the tendency is to shut down the brain, so the brain's not working. So how do we get ourselves back centered in a place of peace, even when we notice this stress response starting to take place? That's what I want to continue to explore this entire month. So here's something that I would like you to do in this moment. I'd like you to imagine that you're standing somewhere unobstructed where you can see the horizon. You can just see a clear horizon off in the distance. So just close your eyes and imagine that. You're somewhere, I don't know where it is, somewhere out in nature where you can see a clear horizon off in the distance. And so what you can see with the physical eyes then is the land that's between you and the horizon. Okay, you can open your eyes now. So similarly, when we are in the midst of fireworks, or those hot spots of life, we tend with the physical eyes to see only what is in front of us. And then, it's kind of like the ancients thought that if you went past the horizon, you'd fall off the edge of the earth. But we know, we've come to know about the shape of our planet and to understand that what we're seeing as horizon is really the curvature of the earth. Well, it's important to understand that our 5 senses can only perceive so much. They're awesome, they serve us well, and we see great beauty and all kinds of wonderful things with them, but they are limited in what is possible. We know that there's this whole universe of possibility. The sciences are beginning to affirm this as well, but we've known this as mystics, for forever, is that there is this whole realm of possibility beyond the 5 senses that we actually have access to. A field, I love this term, a field of pure potentiality and possibility. Rumi said it so beautifully when he said, basically meet me in the field. Let's go beyond this time and space, and I'll meet you in the field. He's talking about that field of pure potentiality and possibility. So here are some of the examples of thinking. Now remember, freedom starts with what we think. Of thinking that can keep us in bondage and that's based on looking through the 5 senses. My expenses are beyond my income. There's no way I can meet them. I just lost my job. I can't find another. My partner and I just split up or passed on, and I feel so lonely. I'm all alone. I feel lost in my emotions and old wounds, and I can see no way out. So when we say these things, and I want to say this also, that these tend to be normal human reactions. It's part of our physicality to do this. But when we do this, it's important that what we're doing is we're seeing only the land between here and the horizon. We're not realizing that there is so much more in terms of possibility. So we're actually living in a state of mental bondage. Mental bondage. And the way out is the freedom of choice, is to choose another thought, another way of seeing it. So this is where the cosmic or spiritual truth of total freedom comes in, is to realize that freedom is there in each and every moment available to us. So it's about being able to see beyond the horizon, beyond the five senses, and when we close our eyes and go within, that helps, and begin to see a vision greater than what we see in front of us. And we know by what the great spiritual teachers tell us, is that when we expand our vision, what happens? When we see it and believe it, the universal law can't help itself but produce it, to produce it. So here's what Ernest Holmes says about that, and this is really the first secret to moving beyond, which is to go to a higher consciousness. He said, the range of possibilities at the present time does not extend far beyond the range of our present concepts. As we bring ourselves to greater vision, we induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is a continuous growth and unfoldment taking place. Little by little, we can unfold our consciousness until at last we are made free. Well, I'm going to actually disagree with Ernest a little bit here. I'm going to say we already are free. We already are free. But it feels as if we're being made free because we're just simply waking up more to what's already available and present to us. Robert Louis Stevenson, great writer that he was, had the gift of going higher, no matter what his life circumstance was. He had severe bouts of pulmonary disease, was bedridden most of the time, and extreme coughing. And yet he wrote some of the most amazing works, even in that state, that physical state. One day his wife asked him how he was doing, and he said, I'm doing just fine. I will never let a bank of medicine bottles keep me from seeing beyond the horizon. No. I will never let a bank of medicine bottles keep me from seeing beyond the horizon. There it is. There it is, what we've just been talking about. So let's take a look at what the second secret is to getting recentered in our divine self, in that knowing of our freedom of choice in the midst of fireworks. And that is to see God in everything, see with spiritual eyes. And that means seeing from a place that is beyond our physical senses, to learn to identify ourselves with who we are in truth, pure spirit, unlimited potential, inhabiting this human body, which serves us very well on this plane, and yet realizing we are so much more than this. Our vision extends way beyond what the physical eyes can see. So if you catch yourself saying, this is bad, I don't see a way out of this, if you catch yourself doing that, you can flip it in that moment. You can go, whoa, wait a minute. It's okay, it's all right. You can flip it, and in the moment say, wait a minute. I have the world of possibility at my fingertips. I have freedom of choice. I have the world of possibility at my fingertips. I have freedom of choice. And I love, again, we can use a decree of one of my favorite ones is by Emma Curtis Hopkins. This too is good. This too is God. This too is for me. And I demand to see a blessing in it. Say that with me. This too is good. This too is God. This too is for me. And I demand to see a blessing in it. Right, we use the power of our freedom of choice and our creativity to turn something that looks like it's a firework into something beautiful and magnificent. Mother Teresa is such a great example of that. She was once in an airport, and the story goes that her stressed travel companion said, "We have a problem with our flight." And Mother Teresa said, "There are no problems, only gifts, small gifts and big gifts. What are you offering?" To which her friend replied, "But our flight is going to be at least 2 hours late." To which Mother Teresa replied, "Well, that would be a small gift then. What a wonderful opportunity to finish reading the novel that I started yesterday." And she said that with a gleam in her eye, apparently. A great opportunity to finish a novel I'd been reading yesterday. How many of you have found yourself doing that? Actually, in the moment, it looks like it's a challenge, but you go, wait a minute. Like maybe you're in a traffic jam or something. Wait a minute. This is an opportunity for, and you fill in the blank. That's a practice that we can all, use that really truly is a demonstration of the exercise of freedom. So, God is the gift. God really is that presence of true freedom within you. God is the essence of your very being. It's already fully orbed within you. We just wake up to that. We wake up to that. Every time we realize this state of unity, the state of unity is where true freedom resides. This awareness of who we are in truth and what it is that we have, the power that we have to exercise that. So I'd like to end with this beautiful letter, which I think so exquisitely demonstrates true freedom. It's a letter from Father Giovanni, who's a 15th century monk, to a friend. So listen to this. And I invite you to see this as my letter to you, or my words to you. I am your friend, and my love for you goes deep. There is nothing I can give you which you have not already got. But there is very much that you can take. No heaven can come to you unless your heart finds rest in today. Take heaven. See, he knew heaven was a state of mind, right? No peace lies in the future, which is not hidden in the present instant. Take peace. The gloom of the world is but a shadow, yet within your reach is joy. There is radiance and glory in the darkness. Take joy. Life is so generous a giver, but we, judging its gifts by the covering, cast them away as ugly or heavy or hard. Remove the covering, and you will find beneath it a living splendor, woven of love by wisdom with power. Welcome this living splendor. Grasp it. Touch the angel's hand that brings it to you. Everything that we call a trial, a sorrow, or a duty, believe me, that's the angel's hand. The gift is there, as is the wonder of an overshadowing presence. Life is so full of meaning and purpose, so full of beauty. Beneath its covering is your heaven. Courage, then, claim it. That is all. And so it is.